Hello to my dear Pebble followers. Welcome to another episode. And this gorgeous woman you are looking at is Elayna, and she is also known as the Positive Mom. And she absolutely deserves that moniker. And she is here to give you serious motivation today. She is everywhere. I suspect that you may know her better than you know me. So I am not going to speak very much today, other than to say, welcome, 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 my dear friend. She and I have known each other, I think 10 years now, since a couple of hers weren't even born, and I have known them literally their whole lives, and others who are now graduating college were tiny. So Elayna, my friend, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Tracy. You know that the love is mutual. I have so much just love and a deep admiration for you. You're one of my favorite people, and you know that because I've been following you, and just the times that we spent together have been just so precious to me.
I feel the same, you know. Well, she really is a true reflection of what the Pebble is about. She has had untold obstacles, including just getting to this country, becoming a citizen, a very proud citizen, by the way, and raising four amazing daughters, and never letting things get her down. Being real, she is not someone who is Pollyanna. When she says she's the positive mom, but that's in a real world. She is not going to tell you that everything is okay no matter what, but she chooses positivity daily, and that's what I love about her. So tell my audience a little bit about how you choose that, even when even within the last few years, postpartum, you had a terrible back injury and you faced daily pain, how you just kept putting that smile on and getting up and raising your girls with beauty.
Oh, thank you so much. I got chills from everything you said. And yes, I love that you said that I'm real because I always say perfect people aren't real and real people aren't perfect. And so I think that we live in a world where positivity has been translated into perfection. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. Being positive, I always tell my girls, it's not about falling in the water, but getting up and swimming. So we're all going to experience pain. I always say pain is the common thread of humanity. That's my favorite thing that I've ever said
Amen.
because it's true. Like, show me someone that hasn't been through pain. So maybe they haven't had a back injury like I did, but they have had something emotional, a physical, spiritual, and just anything in their relationships that is painful. Maybe their childhood, maybe their present relationships. So we've all been through it. And if we haven't experienced adversity, which I don't know who you are, if you
Right.
but or we've experienced loss, right? So this is something that is universal to everybody. And so when we try to suppress that pain, and I call it the 3Ds: deny, dismiss, and downplay our pain, instead of that being positivity, what that is toxicity. And so that's going to express itself out, and you're going to feel it's going to translate into mental illness. It's going to translate into body illness. It's going to translate into disconnection in your relationships. So basically, the way that I stay positive is by not staying positive. It's really by understanding the things that get me down and processing them and giving myself a time to really be with my pain, and then I can choose everything else. And I'll tell you a little thing that I always tell the moms in my community is this tool that I made up called dating your pain. So every morning, and it could be done anytime, but I do it in the morning because it prepares me for the rest of the day. When I wake up, I have a little date with my pain. And this is what it looks like. And it has 3 steps. It's called see, sense, and say. See, sense, and say. I love alliteration. Everything has like 3 S's
I'm the
or three
same way. I love it.
C's.
That's how I remember things.
Yeah, exactly. It's just easier for, like as we age and having 4 kids, we have to make it easy for us. But basically you see and you got to get still for 2 minutes. It doesn't take too long. 2 minutes. You get still and you see in your mind and in your heart, like what is it that caused you pain? And I close my eyes because I literally close my eyes when I do this practice. And it could be a memory from your childhood. It could be an annoyance from yesterday. It could be something that you regret. It could be something that you blame yourself for. So it could be anything that is uncomfortable and distressing or stressful and unpleasant. You see it, what happened, right? You replay that memory in your mind. And then the second thing that you're going to do is sense it in your body, because as we know, and you and I have talked about this before, anything that we're feeling will show up in our body, and we don't listen to our body enough. So you just do a very, few seconds just scanning. Is your maybe throat, you have like a knot in your throat, or maybe an emptiness in your stomach, or you feel that your shoulders just slump down. Maybe you frowned, maybe there's a tear. So you just sense what's happening in your body, any weakness, tensing or tension or tingling sensation. And the third thing that you're going to do is basically, I call it say, but you're going to say validating words to yourself. And I'll give you 3 examples. It could be, and you call yourself by name, by the way. It could be something like, Elayna, what you're feeling is valid. It's okay to feel what you're feeling, Elayna. Or, Elayna, that makes sense that you reacted like that,
Yeah.
right? Or, Elayna, of course that caused you pain. Elayna, I'm here with you. I'm with you. You can feel that, and basically it's just saying, allowing that pain and acknowledging that pain. And when we do that, that validation, that clears it out. And I'll tell you why it's 2 minutes, Tracy, because this neuroanatomist, which she's like kind of my hero a little bit. She's become a huge inspiration for me. She's a neuroanatomist from Harvard. Her name is Jill Bolte Taylor. And Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor says that any emotional response lasts just 90 seconds.
Wow.
So we don't have to, we can date our pain, but we don't have to marry it.
I love that. That's perfect. We don't have to marry it. It also
Yeah.
reminds you that if we took 2 minutes before we make a big emotional response, what a difference it might make in our relationships too.
It's night and day. And
Just
also,
if we just, okay, woo, or I'm feeling something, but is it real? Like just 90
yeah,
seconds. Wow.
yeah, yeah. And
I
then the
love
30
that though.
seconds.
We can date our pain, but we don't have to marry it. You need to put that on a t-shirt and sell it, woman.
I will.
That is
Done.
you have merch. My kids love YouTube things and they always talk about merch.
Yeah.
You now have your merch. You can date your pain. You don't, or on the back, don't have to marry it.
Done. Done.
I
But I
love
want to say,
it.
just 30 seconds of validation. So 90 seconds of pain, 30 seconds of validation. That validation is everything. And I'm writing a book on validation now because it's the most important thing, I think, in today's society, and why we can choose to be positive. Because we choose to be positive after we process the pain, then we're good.
And one of the things I do want to point out is that I love about you is how you mentioned a neuroanatomist and such, you actually, my audience to know, you're not just a, oh, I'm a positive person because it's worked in my life. Like you study and she knows her stuff. Let me just put it that way. And oh, by the way, is this book number 3 or 4? Because she's a best-selling author, by the way. And she is a speaker everywhere now, folks. Like she is on demand. She's become a cover girl. I mean, she's been my friend forever. So I'm her like #1 fan in not a stalky
Aw.
weird way. But seriously, she's gone worldwide. So which number book is this?
Well, it's actually number 12, but it's like the fourth one in the past few years. So you're
Okay. Well,
yeah.
seriously, and in the content below, I'm going to have where you can get her stuff, because I own her books and they're for real. And we're going to have her back another time, I promise, to talk about her books because when I say that she knows from pain and when she talks about dating her pain and not marrying it and processing it, this is like we're not playing with this. She really knows what she's talking about. She didn't like stub her toe or not get a date from prom. She really has had some serious experiences and she talks about it in her books. And so we're going to spend a whole episode on that. So please do check out her books and we'll talk about that more. But she's what are you, I know you're studying right now actually for a degree. So why don't you
Yeah.
tell my audience about that?
Yeah, it's really, really crazy. I love to learn. I'm a lifelong learner, and I
Me
actually
too.
call myself
Never stop learning
yeah,
ever.
yeah, yeah, ever. I think, we stop learning, we die. And
Yes.
yeah, it's just it's the I think the fabric of life is made of growth and learning. And I call myself a student of pain, but that's not what I go to school for. So the degree that I'm working on right now is marriage and family studies. And so a lot of psychology, a lot of neuroscience, a lot of counseling techniques. And as a coach, I'm a trauma coach and an addiction recovery coach as well. So I'm always looking at those the techniques and I would say strategies that help us really understand pain at a deeper level so that people can be validated in their pain. Because I, I've been through a lot of things, as you said. I've had a lot of traumatic experiences and near death experiences and really difficult situations and with my kids as well as a mom, because of the I would say dysfunction that I also chose for my marriages. And so one of the things that I really like to talk about is how we compare pain. So even though I know that many people probably can't relate to the things that I've been through, like, just a tiny example, like, how I was kidnapped when I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
And that was a just horrific experience that I talk about on my blog, and of course it has a trigger warning. It's very, very intense. And a lot of people say like, oh my gosh, I've never been through that. You know, you are superhuman or whatever. And you know what? Like, and I look at them in their eyes and I say, but you've been through other stuff, because we are not here to compete like that. And I want to validate them. I want to see their pain, that even though what they went through is not something that was on the news or that they had to go to court for, or that it sounds like a tragedy or will be in a horror movie, it's still something hard. And one of my mentors, since we're talking about learning, I learned from all the mentors.
Yes.
And he says, Tracy, trauma is not what happened to you, it's what happens inside of you as a result of what happens to you. His name is Gabor Mate. And basically what it means is, if something happened to you that other people don't think is traumatic, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you feel that trauma, that you acknowledge it, validate yourself, and say, yes, that was super hard for you.
Yeah, and I
Maybe,
appreciate that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate that because, for example, my son, something happened to him that my husband and I didn't appreciate and understand was traumatic to him. It didn't sound like something that would be traumatic, but it wasn't until he was, a late teen that he was able to explain in terms that we heard.
Hmm.
And it broke my heart that we didn't hear it at a time that we could have maybe made it less traumatic for him.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad now that we know and understand, and we've been able to, reassess and bond with him now over it.
Mm,
But it absolutely is true that it doesn't matter what that was,
yeah. Yeah.
because in his 6-year-old brain is what it was,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that you hear people where they are and don't go, well, that wasn't this, because there
Yeah.
are people that do compare and
Yes.
say, your trauma, I can't hear your trauma because it's not this level. And the reality is, every single human, going back to where you started, if we could realize and meet people at a base level, humanity has pain.
Yeah.
Humanity has pain. There is no human, the old, what is it, the Doors, that nobody gets out of here alive. I think it was the Doors that said that.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
think at Hotel California, right?
oh yeah, maybe that was the Eagles. One of those bands of the 60s and 70s said that. Nobody gets out
Yeah.
of here alive type thing. And nobody gets out of here without some kind of pain. If you come into this world and you have someone you love, you will lose someone you love. Even if the rest of your life was ideal, you will
Yeah.
bury someone, or they will leave you, or something that will happen in your world. And if we could just meet at that baseline, what a difference our communication would be.
Yeah.
And so you really are a hero to me.
Oh.
You're talking, no, seriously, because you live that. I know of a few people in this world that have had true traumas at that level, and you are one of them. And those people that have had those traumas are always the most generous. It's very interesting to me. The people who have experienced the real earth-shaking traumas tend to be the most generous at saying, I'm not going to judge your trauma. And then and not get into the pettiness. And I so appreciate that, because I think that would be such an answer to so many of the petty disputes that seem to be separating us.
Well, and also thank you, Tracy, for all those beautiful words, and I agree with every statement that you made. But the thing is also it comes back to us, because how am I able to be positive in my pain? Because I see other people's pain too.
Yeah.
And so when I validate myself, I can validate others. So I don't have to stay married to my pain, because I already see it through for others. So it's really, a beautiful thing when I can say, you know what, I'm struggling today. And it's okay to struggle today, because once I get through that, I get validation for myself, even if nobody else validates me, but usually they will. right?
Right.
And so, and then you can validate others. And as you validate others, you remind yourself to validate your own pain. There's no, what do they call it? Like good deed goes unpunished,
Oh,
not
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So as you are present with others in their pain, you're in turn being present with your own pain, and it'll be easier for you to get out of that negativity. We call it negativity, but it really is normal emotions. Our emotions, I believe, are God given. I believe that they are signals to tell us when something is off. And when we feel them, we just have to go inside of it and see what is off. And I love what you said about your son, because I have a practice with my daughters, to really tell me, and they will. They said, Mom, that was invalidating. Yeah. And it's like straight up, straight up. And one of the things, I remember telling one of my daughters, like, oh, you're so young, you have your whole life ahead of you. And I thought that was motivating.
Right, right, right.
But it was invalidating, because you know what? She didn't want to hear that. She wanted to hear that she is going through something. And there are little things like that I call motivational shame. And we all do it. It's not just you.
Right. Yeah.
All do it to our kids, to people around us. And so I have a rule now, and it's when someone's in pain, hold them. And that means either hold the space or really physically hold them, and hold your tongue. Hold them and hold your tongue. Let them do the talking. And then you're just there for them. And if you have some kind of wisdom that needs to be shared, you can say, hey, I'm feeling a little wisdom coming on, or however you want to say that. I will share. Can I share it with you? So ask permission.
Mm,
And also like kind of detach the outcome, so you don't have to do what I'm saying. I just feel like I need to share it just for information. And could I share it with you? Because most people, when they come to you with a painful experience, they just want to be held. They just want to know that they're not alone. And Peter Levine, another one of my mentors, he's a best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author in the topics of trauma. He says trauma happens not because of adversity, but because of the absence of an empathetic witness. It means that when you go through trauma, and that explains what you said before, when you go through trauma and people are there for you, it becomes post-traumatic growth. When you go through trauma and you feel alone, like no one understands you and everybody just doesn't get it, then you go to post-traumatic stress disorder.
that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. I get that. You amaze me. You, like I said, you know your stuff. You don't just grab at things and share. Like your wisdom comes from your own personal growth, but also your studies. Do you have one last thing you'd like to share with my audience today?
Well, I'm going to share about you, Tracy, and about the fact that in order to stay positive, and to choose positivity in the face of adversity, we need to choose healthy friendships and supportive people in our lives. And oh my gosh, I when I met you, it's been such a blessing to be in your presence. You're always in my corner, even when we don't talk for months. Sometimes when we talk is so beautiful, and you're always supporting me. And so when we have this kind of people, like I have Tracy in my life, positive friends that are always sharing, always having your back, then life becomes easier. And we've done work together with ACEs, with adverse childhood experiences, and we also know that the positive experiences buffer that adversity. And so I've had so many positive experiences with Tracy. And find your Tracy. Find your Tracy. Find a person who lifts you up, who treats you like you're their hero. I hope to be your Elayna. I hope that I give as much to you as you give me. And so when you
More,
find those
more.
people in your life, then it's going to be easier for you to go through the pain that is inevitable.
Oh my gosh. You grace me, you bless me, and I can't put any kinder words on that than what you just gave me. But I agree with what she says, that having beautiful people in your life is it's not just pebbles, those are boulders, you know. Find your people, and I am blessed to have Elayna in my life too. She and I were in a group together to for social media presence, and it was just like it just was magic. So yes, thank you so much for being on the Pebble. You gave us so many pebbles to throw into that sea, and thank you for watching us today. And I hope that it touched your life as much as it touched mine. And if you enjoyed the show and would like to hear about future shows, be sure and push the subscribe button, and have a wonderful, blessed day. Bye-bye.